Welcome to this panel about the public and private partnerships to enable a smart city, or smart society, if you want to extend outside of cities, adoption. We have a very, very complete representative at public and private sector, and also at European Commission level and European regional level. So we have a very good mix. We can have discuss about different points of view and overall the potential of the complementary way to interact each other. We have at my left Maria Galindo and Albert Tort. They are representatives for the Catalan government in digital politics, and in the case of Maria, and digital infrastructures and digital implementation, and also the public administration, the digitalization, and so on. And also we have Emanuela Girardi. He's the president of Adra. Adra is a reference association in Europe in private and public-private partnership. Adra is the private side, and the European Commission is the public side. And the big family of Adra is composed by the community of artificial intelligence, the community of robotics, and the community of data analytics. Okay. So I have questions, a few questions for everyone to start the panel. The first open question is, how do you see the value of the public-private partnership from your point of view, and which opportunities you can comment or you can explain to the society? Society, we understand companies, individuals, and institutions. Okay. Maria?
Okay, great. Thank you so much for hosting this panel and also for inviting us to participate. So that's a very good question. And I think that nowadays no one, both from the political side, but the government side, but also from the private sector, could explain how technology can be implemented, deployed, without a public-private, I don't know if partnership, but yes, a joint vision from the public and the private sector. From the government of Catalonia, for 5 years now, we have been implemented different strategies in the technological side. So for IoT and for AI, for cybersecurity as well, and for other technologies. And all of these strategies have one of the main axes being a joint definition of the vision where Catalonia wants to see itself in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time. But also in developing a coherent ecosystem of companies, research centers, of governments, as to align and as to make the most out of the technology planning and also deployment. We must take into account that technological cycles are shortening, and because of the technological risk also of deployment, we must do this together. There's no way that one government can do it alone, or a company can do it alone, except if you are one of the three big techs that gather 70 or 80% of the market. But instead, we have to do it together. We have a commitment to really making out the most of technology also for SMEs. And in Catalonia, SMEs represent 98% of the competitive tissue. So we must include the SMEs, both for research and also for deployment and for tech adoption.
Okay, thanks. So you are focused on the wall of companies, the wall of the industry, the industrial fabric, and the companies. So, and from the point of view of infrastructure, infrastructure for the area, the country.
Yeah.
How is your vision?
Yeah, in fact, I think that I would like to take the same message that Maria is telling us regarding the common vision and the common goal. The government of Catalonia has a common goal, which is improving private and public services. So it means our society needs to take the most of technology to obtain improved, better services, even if they come from the administration, from the public administration, or if they are provided by companies and the economic sector. So this is the common goal of the government, having the focus on improving the services which make our society a better place to live and to share the prosperity that we want. So this is the common goal, and it implies, for sure, the dynamization of the economics. It implies improving and applying the digital transformation of our administration, and it implies also improving and having a robust network of digital infrastructures. And this is the way these three pillars converge into a common goal, which is the goal of the, let's say, whole government in Catalonia. So first message is this one. Second one is that it's clear that we can do it alone. So we have a common goal, private-public services, so we need to work together, public sector, private sector, as only one team, let's say, in order to address all these issues. From the point of view of the public administration, our mission is clear, and we have a mission summarized in one sentence, which is: we are working for an easier, more intelligent, and also more friendly administration, which is also important, in a more connected Catalonia. And this combines the idea of public services for the people and also the digital infrastructures to support, to be the base of these digital services. This is the mission, but this mission is not possible without private and public collaboration. We have a sector which we call GovTech, which is also an economic sector. We have a lot of companies which are working in Catalonia. I think that more than 19,000 companies in the digital sector. So we need to take the most of this ecosystem. And we need to learn from each other. We have I would like to also explain that many times we think that the administration always is working, let's say, in a reactive way in comparison with the private sector. But I think that we really need to learn from each other. We have a lot of impactful projects also, which are part of public administration. We have a lot of impact because we have use cases which have a truly impact and value for citizens and for the society. So we really need to change the mindset. It's not that we are always reacting to the private sector. We have a lot of experience that we need to mix in order to reach this common goal.
You mentioned a very interesting point about you said make public administration digital, I understood, more friendly.
Yeah.
We will go to this point after, so I think it's interesting, this human-centric point of view. No?
Sure.
You talk about talent, about inclusivity, and you talk about make this monster of the administration, something friendly in the digital world. So it's a point we will go after. And Emanuela, which is your point of view about this public and private partnership with the European Commission? So this is the biggest monster, no, in Europe about the public administration.
Indeed, yes. So thank you and good afternoon, everybody. And thank you for having me here. It's always great to talk about, this topic. So I think I agree with Maria and Alberto already said, because I think that this is really the value of a public-private partnership. But then if we think about, especially today we're living in a super complex world. And if we look at the speed of development of the technology today, it's so fast. If I look only about the last 4 months, so many new things have been deployed, developed, released into the market, that I think that the public part alone cannot cope with it. There is really a need for a strong cooperation between public and private today, because otherwise it's impossible to keep this speed, to keep up with the speed of development of the technology, and also to deploy. From the public point of view, I think that it is very difficult to deploy a solid governance, because whatever governance, once it's deployed, it's already too old. So you need to have sort of an ongoing updating system for the governance on one side. And on the other side, you have instead the spirit of the entrepreneurial spirit of the private side, that especially in this digital transformation, it's very useful to bring it into the public sector. So I think on one side, you really need to sort of have this aligning between innovation on one side and the public values on the other side. So for instance, the Vice President Anna Virkunen, she presented just a few weeks ago the AI continent strategy to make Europe an AI continent. And I think that this is the long-term vision that you both talk about it. And now you need the private sector to really deploy it, implement it, execute it, also with the logic like the operational efficiency, for instance, of the private sector as well. Because I don't know that well about the Spanish one and the Catalan one, but I can tell about the Italian one that it's quite slow, and it really, it would benefit a lot tremendously, from a little bit of private sector logic implementation. And then if I think about all the new services that the public administration will be deploying in the next years to make, to use all the digital technologies and to make, the digital administration more friendly, like you said. And all of this, it's a tremendous business opportunity for the private sector. Working together, developing really together new services with the approach that we can use with AI, so personalized services for all the needs of each citizen. I think that this is really another big value, that it's really coming from the cooperation between public and private.
Okay. Nice. So going to this point, because there are some authors like Carlota Perez, that explains that there is a cyclical dynamics on which when technology goes ahead or too much ahead from society, there is some tension. There is some part of the society that can feel that are in risk to be excluded. And then when time goes by, happens the reverse, then the society goes ahead. In that case, we have a quiet years of prosperity. But now we are in the moment, and the technology are accelerating a lot, and this is the tensions. So from your department, how do you see this problem? What measures or what plans you have in order to I'm talking about reskilling people or closing the digital divide and so on.
To start with, I think there is a real gap, and I think it's intrinsic to any technological development that some part of the society is left behind because they cannot cope with its adoption. But we're seeing that these cycles that you were mentioning from Carlota and stuff are accelerating. So we have more and more risks of having more people left behind in our society from these, technology advancements, etc. So we must advocate for this, because if we are going for a digital economy, if we think that this is the future, if we think, and with the Continent AI that was launched 2 weeks ago, if we know that there is a productive gap in the EU that we must tackle with technology, with our companies, we must also ensure that the society is also like advancing at the same time. Mm-hmm. So we are working both from the empowerment and the digitization of society through different strategies, through education, and through also like a lot of advertising how technology can really help in advancing services for people, like social services or other kinds of public services. But then we also have a huge challenge regarding talent. And that related to the reskilling problem that you were mentioning. We see that like in Catalonia alone last year, ICT jobs grew by 20%, so generating 2,500 jobs every month in the ICT sector. Yet, we have a gap of 9,000 jobs that are not covered in the ICT market in Catalonia. So there's obviously something going on. What the companies are demanding is not met with the talent that we have already in the market, so we must work for this. And yes, we can work with degrees, so at the university level, but this takes time. So when someone starts a degree, they will not be in the market until 5 years in time. But then again, we need something for the really short term. So initiatives like the School 42 from Telefónica, which is taking place in Barcelona, or the IT Academy, or like very short, dedicated courses that in really short times, like 6-8 months, you can have someone reskilled and really very, job-wise for the market. So we are working on that. But we must not take into account that society will advance alone. And I think that's a market failure in the technology advancement, and that's something where the government needs to put a lot of effort and a lot of dedication to it. Also related to this, and I was reading this last week, I think it was the World Economic Forum, but I'm not sure, but they have like this ranking for the main uses of AI. And the 5 main uses in 2024 were related to therapy, assistance through ChatGPT or other sorts of AI. And I think this is something that should take our attention a lot, not just for the government, but also at the society level, because we are living a very specific part of our society into machines, into technology, and that can be very tricky. So we are living at a very rapidly evolving market, but not just for the economic sector, but also for the society. And I think it's thrilling, but it also poses a lot of challenges for the government.
Oh, nice, interesting. You know that you are active politics addressed to close the gap in terms of talent, reskilling, and so on. And respect to the digital administration to be friendly to everyone. Are some plans, some news, something you you can advance?
First, just to link with what you are discussing, it's not only about, I think, having skilled people. We also need to have a clear political goal and strategy, and then a framework in order to implement it. So for sure, the public and private collaboration is important, but then understanding that we need to change the mindset and the vision. So the main idea is that we are talking too much about administrative procedures. We need to stop talking about administrative procedures. We need to talk about public services provided to our citizens. And this is a mindset change that needs to be the main onboarding that we need to, to apply to all people who is going to participate in this clear goal as a public servant. So we need to shift clearly from the idea of an administrative procedure to a service. And it implies having in mind that we need to take care about the usability in the access to a service. We need to start talking about proactive services offered to a citizen. If we have some data platform, for example, taking care for sure about privacy and all this stuff, that's clear. But if we have a citizen who has, let's say, 3 children, we need to be able to offer them some kind of help, some suggestions about other services to be added. We need to take care about clear communication. We are describing our procedures and our services from the point of view of administrative people, not from the point of view of citizens. So we need to also change this mindset in the whole process. We are not getting feedback from our citizens when they consume our services.
So let me check if I understood. It sounds very interesting. So you are proposing to change the switch from ISO 9000 and 9001, this is the procedure and all the consultancy firms on that, switch and make a human-centric vision. This is the proposal.
This is the clear point. And the idea of rating, for example, the experience of a citizen interacting with the administration is key, because we are learning a lot. We have an initiative, for example, to test our procedures from the vision of volunteers. We have a database of citizen volunteers who are called from the Generalitat saying, okay, this is our procedure, please try to do it. And we really realize that there are some basic things that from the perspective of an administrative guy who is maybe dealing with this kind of procedure during years. It's something so simple to be changed that it can really shift this mindset and make the difference.
And it's a huge re-engineering. It's a huge re-engineering process, no?
That's it. It's redesigning processes.
Steps, no? Instead of 20 steps.
Yeah, redesigning the processes, but from the point of view of our citizenship, which is not the same point of view of who is taking care of the legal aspects of in the administration. We need to be sure about the decisions, because then we have an associated responsibility.
Sounds
but
nice.
It's interesting not only to take care about the skills, but also about the mindset. And this is the change that we really need to do. And this is our focus, how to redesign our administration in order to achieve this change. And there is another one change which is important. We are in the IoT World Congress. Let me be clear, I'm not interested in sensors. I'm not interested in technology by itself. I'm a computer science engineer. I'm interested on how we can transform the society, how we can get some value from having these sensors, how we can use these sensors, IoT technology, in order to provide better services. So
help
that's
people.
clear.
No?
Yeah, to help people.
Okay. Nice. I didn't expect that. It's a very, very ambitious objective. And Emanuela, from your point of view, because you deal with the European Commission, so I think that you see a lot of procedures, no, dealing with European projects and so on. And do you think that the relationship with the bureaucracy with the European Union is going to be more friendly, or?
Thanks for the difficult question. No, I think that there is a sort of a big change. I mean, especially considering what happened in the geopolitical world, I mean, in our mindset in the past 4 or 5 months, and especially considering after Trump started his second mandate, there are lots of things happened. For instance, I mean, one of the first things that he did, he canceled the executive order on AI, and he launched this 500 billion project called Stargate, building up computing infrastructure in the States. So 500 billion is lots of money. And if you think about, I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with the Horizon program or the investment, I mean, the funding coming from European Commission, I mean, they are very fragmented, like in millions, or if they reach billion, can be 1 billion. So 500 is really a big sum of money. So what happened is that the Commission understood that to compete, I mean, globally, and then to be able to deploy this AI continent strategy, they really need to invest much more money than they invested before. And so they launched this program called Invest AI, that it's 200 billion, which is lots of money, because 200 billion spent not only in infrastructure, but in talent, in bringing AI into the society, in developing AI, data and robotics, according to the European value in Europe, deployed in Europe. So all these things are very important. But the other very important thing that happened in the past 3 or 4 months is the sort of awareness from the European Commission point of view that there was too much regulation. I mean, it was good, but probably it was a little too much, and that there is a need for simplification. So probably you heard several times the President von der Leyen or the Vice President Virkkunen, they both said very often, we need to simplify the access to funding, we need to simplify the procedure, we need to simplify the compliance to the regulation. So I think that this will have a very strong impact on the bureaucracy and also on the processes at the Commission point of view, and also in the relation between public and private, for sure. And there are several groups that are working on this simplification. So I think that we will see probably the results in the next months. So this is the first part, which is important. The second part, if I was listening to what you were saying before, I think that, of course, I mean, AI literacy, it's a must. I mean, we need to bring these skills to everybody in Europe. And it's not only must, it's mandatory, because since February, it's mandatory according to the AI Act. So all the companies and also public administration, they must deliver courses to bring AI literacy to all the people working in companies or in the public services. So this is the first thing. So we shouldn't, I mean, it's good that we discuss it, but we shouldn't be at the discussion level anymore. We should be at the implementation level, which is very difficult as well. But if I think about the opportunities instead, if I think about this sort of paradigm shift, looking at public service, not from the provider point of view, so the government of the public authorities, but from the market point of view, so from the citizens' point of view. And I think that this is really what we can do with the AI technologies, because we can collect all the data, so with the IT, with sensor and so on, we can collect lots of data that are produced daily by all the citizens, and we can use those data to provide all the different kinds of personalized services in different fields. So for instance, in the medicine, which is one, probably it's the biggest field, we can really provide personalized, customized for each citizen, predictive or preventive medicine, and this will have a huge impact on the well-being of people, so the human-centric approach, but also on the cost of the administration, because if I can develop all these services and I can prevent people from getting sick, for instance, with all the preventive medicine, then the cost of curing these people will be much lower. And we know that in the public budget, the cost of health is probably the biggest that we have. So all this mindset shift will have a huge impact. And for this, AI, now physical AI, so AI, agentic AI, and robotics, they can really improve dramatically the public services in the way they're delivered, but also in the way, like you said, that they are designed as well. So I think that there will be a huge transformation. We're living in a very exciting moment, really. I mean, there are some risks, but I think that the opportunities are really huge.
This is related with a question about the key technologies. Which are the key technologies you see to drive this smart society or this transformation?
So first of all, I think that AI
today is clear.
Probably yesterday, because today it's already late, but yesterday AI and today is agentic AI, because I think that agentic AI is really to the next level. And then definitely, I think that physical AI, so I mean, the bringing together AI and agentic AI and robotics, so we will have some robotic systems that are really able to interact real time, to adapt to novel situation, and to move in the real world. And I think that this, I mean, think not only about, we're always thinking about the humanoids robot, because we're used to see them like the Tesla robots or Figure AI robots that are handling things and so on. But if you think about sorry, these kind of robots in the factory, so the manufacturing physical AI robots, this will have a huge impact on the manufacturing, but also on the SMEs. So this is also very important. Then, and also in the societal appliance, for instance, in dealing with people, in healthcare again, in caring activities for, I mean, the aging of the population and so on. Then definitely IoT, because we can collect lots of data with all the infrastructure sensing. And then also with the edge computing, because we can really not only collect the data, but we can have autonomous real-time decision at the edge without going to the cloud. And this will allow us to have all the autonomous driving systems, the drone, the delivery system, and so on. And then the last, especially for the municipalities, I think, is the digital twin. Because we can have, for instance, if I think about the blackout, okay, the reasons are completely different. But if we think about the digital twin of all the smart grid or the electricity infrastructure, I mean, you can really do some simulation and planning there. And if you have a blackout or something breaks down, then you can really simulate it and restart it in a much faster way. And also do all the predictive maintenance and so on. And then the last thing, I think that if you think with agentic AI and digital twin, you can have digital twin that are sort of cognitive twins as well. So this is, again, the next level, because, I mean, the technology is going too fast. We can just try to use it and to deploy it, but it's, at the moment, it's really super exciting who is working in technology.
We had an electricity blackout weeks ago. And then, well, they have digital twins, and well, it's a key to restart the whole network. It's a very complex network without incidents, due the possibility to simulate and take decisions without making a mistake, and in a few hours, up and running the whole system again. And something more interesting, nothing broken. Because the danger in these scenarios is something broke, you cannot start again. So digital twin is a key piece, and is already is being used. Okay, I'm going in that direction. Artificial intelligence. In this new friendly, in this process of making friendly, how do you see the use of artificial intelligence? Or maybe, is there any European project, the bureaucracy eliminator using artificial intelligence?
Yeah, clearly, AI is it's now centric for all kind of use cases, starting from the administration and more friendly administration. For sure, with generative AI, everything is about communication and language. So for having services which are more friendly, take taking care of the interaction, the communication with our citizens, it's all about language also, no? The language barrier also that we have maybe supported with new use cases, taking the most of AI and generative AI technology. That's clear. No? But I would like to add that also in other layers of this stack, may be transformed by using artificial intelligence. For example, to open other discussions, and cybersecurity, okay? The blackout also was a good learning in 1-2 days here in Spain, just to realize that we really need to take care about the whole stack of layers that need to hold the operative of these services. First, for sure, energy. That's clear. But then digital infrastructures. I mean our data centers. I mean our networks. In the networks, we have a lot of potential to use artificial intelligence in order to take care of possible anomalies and all this kind of stack. Then we need another layer of cybersecurity. That's clear. And here we have another opportunity to use AI also at this layer in threat detection, for example, in threat prevention, in our incident response. We have a room for opportunities and a room for improvement, taking the most of AI. And then for sure, at the services layer. But the potential that we have right now is enormous. It's very, very, very interesting, and I think that engaging for all of us, no? Because we can. We need to back to basics in some aspects, because usability, a clear communication, it's all about not making the scenario more complex, which is a risk that we have when applying AI, okay? Having more complex things, again. But if we prioritize and if we apply, again, this idea of simplification, no? In all these kind of layers, then for sure, I think I'm optimistic about the use of AI. It's something that we need to fight, because it's a constant fight. All our threats are about using AI also. In the cybersecurity area, we have it clear. AI is used in order to sophisticate all our threats and risks and so on. But at the same time, we need to take the most of AI in order to continue fighting and putting the opportunities in front of the risks that we have. So.
Okay.
Very exciting moments, I think.
For sure, and related to these opportunities, no? And it's a question for Maria. In our ecosystem, we have a lot of small companies, innovative companies that are working in artificial intelligence and IoT, and you from the government are in contact with these associations, organizations, clusters. No. But the question is, there arrives a time that small companies must scale up, and scaling up is a big problem, a big obstacle for companies. How about the policies you have in your department to face this problem?
It's actually one of the challenges that we're facing in Catalonia, and I think in some parts of Europe, because I think it's more a cultural thing that we are not so used to scaling as ourselves, our companies. And let me share an example. Last week, I was visiting a research center here in Catalonia. I won't say the name. But so from the government, we've been investing for 10 years a lot of money, like 2.5 million euros per year, in developing different uses of technology into different use cases. So one of the goals of research centers are to create spin-offs. So once the spin-off is created, and this is about one of the spin-offs that was created last year in one of the research centers, they're now looking at VCs to really, scale up and to go into the market, and so like the normal procedure for these sort of companies to reach the market. So I was there and I was like, okay, we've been investing a lot of money in this line of research, which has become a use case for the market for this technology. It was quantum. Okay, I already said too much. And now what we'll be facing, and that's what happened a lot with other startups and with other spin-offs, is that an international VC, and in 80% of the times it's an American VC, will come in, invest, and buy out the company. So really, taking out this technology, this capability, this technological sovereignty out of us, which we created here. So this is one of the main challenges and one of the big risks that we're seeing, and we're already trying to deploy different tools from the government to really be able to invest and to buy in these kind of technologies and these kind of companies as to retain the technology here, to make it Catalan, to make it European, for it to stay here. It happens the same with talent, very much. So forming here talent, education, and then going away. So I think that the problem of scaling up is really looking at the mid and long term instead of only the short term, and to really making the link with research and with this technology transferring to the market, but then realizing that our competitive value is in how it reaches the market and how we maintain a stake once it's in the market. So sometimes it can be seen, and me myself, I have pros and cons, because it might be seen as a very a policy that really is, impacting the laws of the market, so not leaving the market to free itself. But I think that's really important, and that our future, and it depends on technology, will depend on that, really. So.
Yeah. Well. This is really a critical point, and also to complete the landscape, there is a problem of the regulatory framework. For small companies, it's difficult to accomplish the regulations. And this is something that, I don't know if the question of the regulations, CE conformity, all the homologation of products is, how do you face with small startups and small companies that they have to scale up, or they want to? We can see many companies here, for instance, there are this startup corners, like little experiment I did in the Mobile World Congress, so probably here if I repeat the experience, when you ask for these small entrepreneurs, do you know that if you want to sell, you will have to face a monster of the regulations, and there is an alarming percentage that people that are making prototypes, they think with the prototype works, and no. You are only the 10%. You also you have to consider, if you want to sell your product, you have to face the regulations. So.
Yeah. I think the regulation in Europe, especially on technology, I mean, it's very strong. We have a solid framework, which on one hand, I'm very happy that we have it. On the other side, it's a bit too much today, especially for a startup, because if I think about a startup that is developing a system, let's think in a medical area application, which will be considered according to the AI Act high-risk system, AI system, then the compliance is expensive, and it's really a big effort. And if I think about a startup that has maybe a founder or a co-founder, I mean, it cannot dedicate one of the two founder or co-founder to the compliance of the regulation, because then if they do that, they don't do the business development, and we know that startup, I mean, they're really working hard. They have to, I mean, to develop very fast and to prove themselves in like 6 months or 1 year time. So I think that for them, it's an issue. And so the European Commission is working on this as well, on identifying some simplification for startup, because they understood that for a startup it's almost impossible to be compliant. But at the same time, also for an SME, because if we think that the majority of European companies are SME, also for them the cost of compliance today it's still expensive. So what they're doing at the moment, they are developing this harmonized standard, because I think that the most important part, which today is not there yet, is the standard. So if I'm compliant, I need to have a standard to measure the compliance of my system. So if my system is trustworthy, which means that if the data sets are fair, are full, are complete, if it's robust from the technical sociological point of view, if it's the transparency, it's fulfilled. I mean, all these different criteria, which are a lot, are at the moment they are being defined in the standardization body. And once they will be approved and they will become, they call them harmonized standard, it means that if I comply to this standard, I have a sort of presumption of compliance to the AI Act. So this is good because it means that once I comply to the standard, which means that I design my system according to the standard, I can bring it to all the European member states at once. And this is for a startup, it's very important to have a digital single market, because if I see what is happening, for instance, in Europe, that Italy is approving an AI law. I think also Spain probably is looking at the AI law. I mean, if we start having different AI law across the different member states, then for a startup, it will be a nightmare to access, I mean, to 27 different markets with maybe 27 different regulations. So the regulation can be a huge barrier, can be also, I mean, a barrier to the entry, because it means that maybe the big, I mean, American tech, they have a barrier to the entry. But the problem is that, I mean, the big American tech companies, they have the money, I mean, and the resources to be compliant to the system. So they have they can hire the lawyer, or they have internal lawyers that are dedicated to the compliance of the regulation, while the SMEs and startups in Europe, they don't have it. So I think that the regulation is a big point. On one side, it's very important to have a regulation. On the other side, we need to make sure that there is a balance between the innovation and the compliance to innovation.
No, this is a topic for another panel,
yeah,
talking about the compliance. But also the spirit of the European, of the regulations is the way of the auto-certification. I mean, in medical systems, it's no way, but in industrial systems, there is a possibility to make auto-certification. There is a question of culture, and there are many companies that are really scared about the compliance, and there is a way. It's a question of knowledge. There is this possibility. It's a question of another panel, so I don't want to. Okay, I think we have 10 minutes to end this panel. We have the possibility to let audience, is there any question in the room? Okay. 2, good. Let the microphone is coming. Yes. And the third, yeah. The third row, yeah, okay.
Hello. So first of all, thank you for this wonderful discussion. I have a couple of questions, and the first one will be for Albert. I was wondering for goals or specific projects for in Catalonia on monitoring these public buildings or infrastructures from the Generalitat with IoT, if there are like certain ideas or projects that will be developed.
Yep. Okay. We have, in terms of data analysis, monitoring, and these kind of things, we are just starting with what we call the cross-wise data platform, okay, in the scope of Generalitat de Catalunya. We have the technological platform, but we really need now or have the need to pool the data that we really have, aligned with the programs. You know that we have a government program regarding housing and this plan of building this kind of equipment for the society. And then we are taking the most of this platform to also change the way in which we have the mindset again. We have this program, so now we need the data. We need to take the data in order to fill the platform and then to monitor, but to be able to take decisions, taking the most of this data. But it's like a wheel that was a little bit stopped, I must admit. But now that we have the technological platform to do it, now we can make progress on that. And this is our mission right now.
Okay. I think it was another.
Yes, the second. Thank you. The second question. Well, I'm coming from Madrid, where we have an IoT lab, a public IoT lab, in association with the Polytechnic of Madrid University, where, as you were saying, entrepreneurs or startups can work for the public projects, let's say. Is there any idea of the Generalitat, and I don't know, maybe this question will be to Maria, to create this kind of environment?
Yes, and actually this is a joint project with the Secretariat for Telecommunications and our Secretariat for Digital Policy, that we were seeing that there's more and more laboratories in these sort of environments where companies, startups, and also the public sector and other actors of the ecosystem come together into developing different solutions for the challenges or for their projects and companies and administrations. So we are now building this open innovation model for Catalonia-wide, where we can really allocate all the startups, all the different technologies that are developed in Catalonia, all the different challenges that come from the public sector, but also from the territory, from other companies, into building a funnel of different solutions. And the idea for this is to really see what we have in the market, see what the demand is, and really building a marketplace for demand and offer of technology, both from the public and from the private sector.
Okay. Yeah.
Hello, good morning. My name is Victor from Modi. In all the topic that you are talking today, it's been a good information, a good growth. Just letting you know where you're thinking and what are your plans. And I have two kind of questions. The first one is in the private sector, how the solutions are growing faster, like for building management, just for wealth, energy, renewables. And for the public sector, what kind of thinking you have for the citizens for use that technology in the future? It will be payable, the people will have to pay, it will be a public service subscribed to something, and how many years you will pretend to have for the installators and maintainers of this as a physical persons who make the deployment of all this technology in Catalonia, for example, will start to work.
Shall I go first? I assume you're referring more on the utility or the urban side of deployment of this sort of solutions, because you are referring to building and energy. And I think that we've gone a long way in Europe in the different, the urban scene for developing the different infrastructure and the different technology that enables for a better urban management and for a better control of what's going on in the city. And I know that, for instance, the Commission is putting a lot of efforts in really delivering the smart city kind of concept of technology deployment into making it a real market for technologies to really continue to invest, because the investment is so huge. So I think it really depends on the utility itself or the market that you're looking at. But I know that for water and for electricity consumption, the markets and the returns are like really short. So in like 3 years' time, you can have like a citywide, return on the investment. But it really depends on the city, the market size, and the company itself. And from the government point of view, I think that it's also like very much about like doing this together. So really putting up like opening the city or opening the ecosystem for developing this sort of solutions and for testing, and it's also evolving very quickly. So I know that the cities that are like more open into developing pilot projects, into opening the city, into being more flexible with existing regulations, then are the ones that get higher returns from the deployment of the technology. I don't know if that answered your question.
If I can add from the private side, I mean, even if we talk a lot about, and it's nice to talk a lot about the social sustainability, environmental sustainability, at the end, I mean, the private companies are driven by the economic point of view. So, I mean, either they have a return on profit on the investment and they make profit, or, I mean, they're not sustainable. And this is the first pillar that it's driving every startup or every company. Unfortunately or fortunately, but this is the way it is today. So I think that if they think about, a return on the investment, they almost never think about a long-term return on investment. So they always have a short mind in front of them, short term. And for this, I think that they're really focusing on efficiency. So to maximize the profit, and so to be very efficient, to be very fast, to execute in a fast way. But this is not bad, because if we combine it with what Maria just said, I mean, with the public approach, then we bring this culture and we merge the different culture with the long-term vision, with public interest, and also with a little bit of a return on investment approach, which is also good. I mean, for public, I think, especially today, that the resources are limited, I think that this is a win-win situation. So really, especially in areas, like you said, like renewable energy investment, or healthcare, or public service investment. I mean, I think this is really, to manage the complexity of the development of technology today, it's really the solution to develop this very well-coordinated public-private partnership.
Okay. I have a very bad news. We are out of time, so we have to end at this moment the panel. Thank you very much to our panelists, Maria, Albert, and Emmanuel, and you for being here. Thank you.
Thank you.